We've all heard those stories, right? People making fortunes overnight with just a couple of clicks. Trading can look like this incredible digital gold rush, but for most people, it's just a really, really expensive lesson. So today, we're going to flip the script. Instead of talking about how to get rich, we're going to break down exactly how people lose money, so you don't have to.
And we have to start right here, because this is the core idea you've got to get into your head. The market is not a friendly game. It's a jungle. It's a ruthless ecosystem. And if you walk in there unprepared, you're not the hunter. You're the prey.
So, where does this whole journey to losing money even begin? Well, it almost always starts with this really powerful, really seductive myth, the idea of easy money. Does any of this sound familiar? Your buddy tells you about some crazy stock tip, the headlines are screaming about a company going to the moon, or suddenly everyone on social media is a crypto expert. This is the bait. And here's the trap. This usually happens late in a bull market, which is exactly when the pros, who've been riding this wave all the way up, are starting to get real quiet and cash out.
So you jump in. You're full of optimism. You place that first trade, and then it happens. That red number, your first loss. The easy money dream just shatters. And what's the first thing most of us do? We find someone or something to blame. The market, the news, the friend who gave you the tip, anyone but ourselves.
In this moment, that instant, when you start looking for an excuse, that is the first huge turning point. If you want to survive in this jungle, forget about succeeding. Just survive. The blame game has to stop. Right here, right now. This right here, this is the simple, powerful truth you have to burn into your brain. Every single click to buy, to hold, or to sell, that's your decision. It's yours alone. Accepting this kind of radical responsibility is the price of admission to the game. It's not about finding fault, it's about taking back control. Okay, so this is your path forward. You just stop the excuses, you accept that it was your finger that clicked the button, and you take full responsibility. Why is this so important? Because you can't learn from a mistake you refuse to own. Owning it is the only way you can start to evolve from prey into something else. So once you've actually accepted that responsibility, the next step is to completely change your mindset. You've got to stop thinking like prey and start thinking like a predator. Just look at the difference here. On one side, you have the prey. They're hesitant, they're emotional, they're hoping for a comeback on a losing stock. But on the other side, you've got the predator. They are decisive. There is no maybe. It's a 0 or a 1. They cut their losses ruthlessly, without a shred of emotion, because their job is to protect their capital for the next hunt.
I mean, this quote really says it all, doesn't it? In this ecosystem, hesitation is fatal. Indecision is like the scent of blood in the water, and I promise you the predators will smell it. To survive, you have to be decisive.
Okay, so you've got the right mindset. That's a huge step. But a predator also needs to understand its environment, right? In trading, that means understanding the overall mood of the market. At the most basic level, you've really only got two main conditions. You've got a bull market, where prices are generally climbing, and it feels like you can't lose. And then you've got a bear market, where prices are falling, and even the best companies get dragged down with everything else. Knowing which season you're in is absolutely critical. Let's make this real with a classic example. You remember the 2017 crypto craze, right? At its absolute peak, Bitcoin hit this number, almost $20,000. The euphoria, the hype, it was totally off the charts. It felt like a new world, and everyone was piling in, 100% convinced it could only go up.
And then the mood changed. In just 1 week, the price fell to this. The value was basically cut in half. So for every single person who bought at the peak, that can't-lose trade turned into a catastrophic loss that just wiped out their accounts.
And that is why knowing the market's mood is so important. A strategy that works great in the calm seas of a bull market will get you absolutely shipwrecked in the storm of a bear market. Understanding the weather helps you understand why a perfectly good ship might sink. So this brings us to our last, and honestly, maybe the most crucial section of all, because the most important trade you will ever make has nothing to do with buying a stock.
This is something almost every new trader gets wrong. In that rush to get in on the action, they just sign up for the first flashy platform they see on an ad. But choosing your broker, that is a massive strategic decision, and it has huge consequences.
So here's the fundamental question you have to ask yourself before you even start. Are you actually buying a piece of a company? Or are you just making a bet on its price?
This is the critical difference between using a proper stockbroker and something called a CFD, or a contract for difference, platform.
Just look at the breakdown. With a proper broker, you own the asset, the actual stock. With a CFD broker, you just own a contract, which is basically a bet you're placing directly against your broker. And that leads to the most important line on this slide, the incentive. A real broker makes money from fees. They want you to trade more. A CFD broker, they profit when you lose. Think about that for a second. Their business model depends on your failure.
And if you think that conflict of interest isn't that big of a deal, well, there's one last chilling statistic we've got to look at. Just take a look at this number for a moment, 74%.
Yeah, 74% of regular people trading on CFD platforms lose their money. That statistic is a fact. It's not really trading, it's more like a slot machine where the house is actively betting against you. For a beginner, the game is rigged from the start, especially when they lure you in with high leverage, which is just a fancy way of saying a faster way to lose all your money.
So let's wrap this up. You avoid becoming prey by taking absolute responsibility for your actions, by thinking decisively like a predator, by understanding the environment you're in, and by choosing the right tools for the job. The question now is, are you ready to take that next step and learn how to hunt?